I lived in this hostel in Amsterdam for 5 months. It actually turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life so far. The best place to spend a pandemic lockdown. Very first week I was in the hostel, there was a guy from Switzerland. He wanted me to come with him to bike around the city, and I was so scared I almost didn't do it. He left looking sad. I was just so disappointed in myself. Like, why didn't I go with him? Like, what is stopping me? I just moved across the world to this place, and I'm too scared to go ride a bike with some guy who seems really cool. Why? Just do it. I saw him again coming back with a bike, and I just ran out. I'm like, hey, like, I want to do it. I want to ride a bike with you. That was such a big step for me, man. You know, I have never done anything like that. It seems small, but you know, that was a big. So we walk to the bike rental place, and I rent a bike, and we go around the city, we explore. It's just the most incredible feeling. I'm in Amsterdam. That I was on the other side of the world, and this was an entirely new place. He wanted to smoke weed. At the end, I'd never done any drugs before. I'd never gotten drunk before. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it. We took the ferry over to North Amsterdam. We got fries. I'd never, ever seen mayonnaise on fries before. I thought it was revolting, but I tried it, and it was really good. So now I like mayonnaise on fries. We went to the Eye Film Museum. I'll talk about this later. And really, for the first time, I was getting out and doing things. I wasn't saying no. The university set me up with this new housing area. We got a room. I got the lucky option, just one roommate. My first roommate was from Oman, an Indian guy. About a month after that, I got a new roommate named Oscar. He was from Turkey, Oz for short. We got along really well. There were quite a few shenanigans to be had. Someone lost their keys to their bike, and well, I'm a skilled lockpick. That's right. The boy's a criminal.
Patrick, what did you just do? That's an unlocked bike we have right there. Yeah.
I got invited to a Dutch house party. I think it's still the only one I've ever been to. Hung out on a rooftop terrace in a very nice, like 4-story house. I was very impressed. It's just a great time, and it was the first time I had
ever been drunk.
Second week in Amsterdam, and it was a nice experience. Beer, if you want to know. One time's enough, I think. I'm usually no alcohol. Oh, there's so much I want to talk about. I got a gym membership for the first time in my life. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go. And I did. I went to the school gym on the Science Park campus. It was really nice, actually. Super laid back, mostly students. I didn't stick with it. It's hard to stick with gym. Yeah, I got my bike through the university, about 60 euros used. Dutch brand, grandma bike, very nice. I just used that to get around the city faster because up to that point, it had been kind of terrifying ride a bike around the city because there's so many bikes, there's so much going on, and I've never been in a place where there are so many bikes like that everywhere. I wasn't sure, like maybe someone would hit me, I'd do something wrong, someone would yell at me just because I didn't pay attention so much to the traffic. Ran a few red lights, that kind of thing, almost got hit by a car, but I did get used to it. I still have a little bit of hesitation when I'm like, oh, should I walk there? Should I bike there? I'm almost completely over that now. Progression. I did add some custom modifications to my bike. Pro tip, always ask for the second-hand, Tweety hands parts for the bike because they wanted like 60 euros, like all these parts that I wanted, and then I just asked if they had used hand-me-down parts, and they're like, oh yeah, we have some of those. It's gonna be 10 euros. Yeah, I had big plans for the seat on the back of the bike. I had dreams of transporting girls around on it, you know, just being a romantic. But yeah, it turns out my balance isn't as good as I thought. The program I had applied to at the University of Amsterdam was business administration. I got introduced to the Dutch lunch, which consisted of bread and cheese. It's like, oh, it's lunchtime. They take out the baguette, and then they take out the cheese, and I'm waiting for something else to come out of the bag, but no, that's it. We went clubbing, my first time in a club. We biked around, explored the city. We tried swimming. We'd have dinners together. An incredible introduction to kind of European culture. A person from every single country in Europe there. As the weeks added up and it moved into fall, like we weren't any closer to finding housing, and the university wasn't offering any more housing to us students. There was almost 50 students in this hostel. We were all struggling to find somewhere to stay and live that was affordable. There was a decent number of places, but they're all just really overpriced, kind of out of our budget. It was difficult to find anything. We like made groups and we'd look together on these different housing websites for maybe something that we could share, be roommates with each other and split some high rent. But there's so many limitations when it comes to that. Like a lot of them are like no students, women only, Dutch speaking only. The Italians managed to find their own apartment. We helped renovate it a little bit. We had a bunch of like nice get-togethers and dinners, and it was like a family. So we got a month or so to explore the city, and then COVID lockdown happened again. We were stuck in the hostel.
Hello there.
So as fall got started, I noticed that it wasn't as cold as Washington. I feel like the climate's more mild, especially in the winter and the fall. As fall rolled around, I organized a Thanksgiving dinner with the hostel students. I made my mom's famous Thanksgiving turkey stuffing with our resident German anarchist, anti-fascist dermaturgist, and it actually turned out really well. Yeah, maybe I'll do a cooking show. The Frenchies made mashed potatoes, the Norwegians made salad, and I bought what was supposedly one of the best apple pies in Amsterdam from a cafe called Winkel 43, which I shared with everyone. And they had like a cream thing and all that included, and they had some fun with that, as you can see. As things progressed, I realized that the things that had caused me to fail at university in Washington had kind of carried along with me, of course. So I had been to, so many different schools trying to do well in different classes, and I just had always fallen apart, and the same thing was happening at this school even though everything was aligning for me. I had solved the housing situation. I had found through a random lottery one of the social housing studio apartment, just apartment buildings for students. Because I'm over 23, I get the full Dutch subsidy thing from the government. I had solved one of the most important problems with Amsterdam, which is finding housing. Through random chance, I got extremely lucky with this. It was an indefinite contract. I could stay here until this current studio that I'm in, by the way. I could stay here until the end of my studies, which could be, I don't know, 6 years, like however long it took me to finish, as long as I could stay enrolled and keep doing well. I was doing so poorly, and I just, oh man, I gave up on myself. And I'm trying to like, maybe I can talk to a psychologist, maybe I can get this right, maybe I can still do well. Mental health, I didn't realize how bad it was until I started seriously trying to do well in school again. So I'll talk more about that in a later video, but I'm still determined to stick it out even without university, and I'll talk more about how I managed to do that in the next video, I think. Christmas rolled around and everyone at that point had managed to find some kind of housing. Yeah, everyone went home at the hostel for Christmas, so I was completely alone. For Christmas Eve, I had Christmas dinner with traditional Vietnamese food with the Vietnamese from Asia, like around there, China, I think. And I was in the same boat. I didn't want to go back to my family for Christmas, so I stayed in the hostel. It was the most lonely experience, I think, well, up to that point that I'd ever had. I was literally the only guest in this gigantic hotel there, and everyone was gone. And I've never felt so alone before. But yeah, no, I toughed it out, and I'll talk about Dutch New Year's in another video, but that was a really good conclusion to my stay at the hostel, I think. I don't think it could have ended any better.